and it's amazing to see the cooperation between not only the military personnel, but the local police and SWAT teams. There's a report now, 9 dead, 27 injured. The numbers are varying, and it looks like regardless, the numbers are going up.
Yeah, they're not going to over-report the numbers. I don't know how they would inflate the numbers. I mean, you find somebody injured, you count them, and you move on to the next person. So you're right, Dave. It does look like the numbers are going up, which would indicate that the shooting could potentially still be going on.
Right. Yeah, and it's hard to say exactly what's going on there. Of course, and like you mentioned, they are keeping a lot of the information close to their chest, and it's interesting. Schools have been locked down in the area, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible day as far as this goes.
Right. I can't help but miss the significance of the day, the timing of the day, and watching how the state-run media was on General Electric was hinting a little bit at what significance might this day have and how can that be applied to a potential terrorist attack. You know, Dave, we have seen the Obama administration, especially in light of the heavy criticism they've been taking and the myriad of failures that they have endured, really trying to go after Americans to be potential homegrown terrorists. We're extremists and terrorists because we don't like him, and of course because we are, racist somehow. And it would not surprise me in the least to see that kind of worked into this scenario, though also I have to speculate that it probably wouldn't look too good for Obama to, have the troops at Fort Hood this unprepared. What do you have, Dave? Anything new?
Yeah, a couple of different things here. Of course, the attacks were on those 2 villages, those live-in villages there on the base. Drudge is reporting that a 3rd gunman has been confirmed. We're also seeing that, see here, 12 dead. Looks like CNN is reporting that 12 are dead. There is a news conference underway right now outside of Fort Hood. It looks like Obama's probably going to be talking here shortly as well.
Okay, I see 2 suspects caught. We've also had a report that at least one might be dead. That I guess would be the second shooter, because they said that initially they had the first in custody after a firefight with SWAT, and as you say, 3rd shooter. I don't know if it's confirmed. It's definitely still being talked about. I don't know if this has come to an end yet, Dave. It does this really hard to determine.
Well, and it's interesting because when we think about 2 caught and 1 dead, that may lend credibility to the 3 gunman scenario.
Sure. 4 SWAT officers injured. We're giving you what we can now here on the Fort Hood shootings.
Here's an urgent report. Fox 4 is reporting new gunfire erupts at Fort Hood.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm running through this as well. It was interesting that the mainstream media, Dave, was trying to put not only potentially to the Guy Fawkes Day thing, but also to the Fort Dix attack where the 6 alleged radical Islamists were plotting to stage an attack on Fort Dix in New Jersey. They were arrested in a sting operation by the FBI and then later tried, and we had found that they had, at least according to the government, they had been training for this extensively. We're going to dress as pizza men and go in and shoot the place up. I guess after everything that goes on in this country, it's probably not out of the realm of possibility that this could be, somebody that's very mad at the government.
Right. Well, and that's a very good point. And the scary part is to think that this horrible attack might have been pulled off, especially if the FBI report is correct, that it was not pulled off by terrorists, but it was pulled off by fellow Americans. That of course that'd be just make the entire situation even more horrific than it is.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, if we find out that these are actually military people who turn their guns on their brothers inside Fort Hood, I mean, what does that say about the state of the military today?
Well, and that's the thing. We have to remember back to Camp Penn in Iraq, where we had a fellow soldier of the 101st throw grenades into his officer's tent. It's interesting to think that, and it's sad to think that this is not the first time that, and of course we're speculating at this point that an American would have attacked his own. It's just a horrible day, a horrible
This
time.
is the report I just got. Again, we don't know how accurate any of this is, but 2 shooters are soldiers. At least, I don't know, Kristen, where this is coming from, but this is what I'm getting here on my chat window. So we'll look into that. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is true. And, when I first heard of this and they started throwing around PTSD and then the, questions started coming, well, what are we doing to help the soldiers on with PTSD, coming back from multiple tours in these multiple wars? And I immediately thought back to the legislation signed by George Bush, the anti-gun legislation, what we call the Veterans Disarmament Act, Dave, where, if you reported that you had PTSD, you would lose your Second Amendment rights. You wouldn't be able to have guns anymore. So, I mean, how willing are people in the know, and this stuff travels around pretty good within the military ranks, how willing are they going to be to tell people that they are having a mental problem?
Right, exactly. Well, and I'll tell you something else, too. It didn't take 30 minutes before ABC started linking related links, official CRIs and militia groups across the U.S.
Yep.
Oh, here's something. We're getting some information from NewsNetUSA.com team right now. Bulletin, U.S. Army officials confirmed 12 dead, 31 wounded at Fort Hood mass shooting. Another bulletin official, Fort Hood shooter killed, 2 other suspects arrested.
Dave, it looks like this could be over at this point. Just listening to Obama speaking on our local news service, he did make it sound like it was over anyway, that one shooter at Fort Hood had been killed and 2 others were in custody. That's kind of interesting that they would be in custody while they're shooting. I find that somewhat interesting, that they were soldiers that were killed, but that the base is still on lockdown. The schools are still on lockdown as far as we know. So soldiers have been confirmed as the victims. I mean, this is pretty well coordinated minimally. I mean, they didn't do much but to cause a lot of people to die and get hurt, Dave. But, I mean, to plan this on this day, I think is symbolic, the 5th of November. Also, to plan this at a time when many of the troops there would be distracted by this graduation ceremony where many civilians and family members would be in attendance, which certainly would, I think, put them on a much more cautious footing than they would normally be as far as getting back. But at least that's the information I have now. Can you confirm that? Is this over?
It looks like it might be. They haven't given the all clear yet, and it looks as though the suspect that is dead was in fact the major, and it looks like he had used 2 pistols. He did it pistol whipping people. I don't know. It's interesting. Reports are still coming in. The number's still rising as far as injured and dead. It's just unbelievable. I mean, if they're saying that the one guy was able to do this, and you're talking, 31 people injured.
No. It's been confirmed that there are 3, that 2 are in custody and 1 is dead, and it also maybe you're just referring to one of the shooters, but it was also reported and confirmed that there were a variety of weapons being used, including an M16 at one point.
Oh, is that right? Okay, I hadn't seen that one yet. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's interesting because one of the things that had just come over on Fox, that's what they were talking about, was 2 handguns. And, that almost makes it almost impossible to believe, that would be the only one. So, once again, proof in the pudding that you can't rely on just one piece of media. You have to expand out multiple sources.
Well, it may take days to actually find. In fact, Dave, we may never know exactly what was behind this and what the motives were. And, what's interesting, though, is that you look at any mass shooting case, it's very difficult to find one case where the shooter isn't taken out. Not only because they're armed and dangerous and they're usually fighting back, but they either take themselves out or the police or the military or SWAT or the FBI or somebody takes them out. And that is what makes it so hard to determine what the motives were, because dead men tell no tales, as you know. And what we do know is that in many of these cases, the shooters are on psychotropic drugs or some kind of SSRIs. But this defies imagination. What could be accomplished by something like this? What kind of a message can we even speculate, Dave, on why something like this would happen? When you have one person, I can understand it. When you have 2 people, it's very fishy. And when you have 3, this is a coordinated attack. Latest reports are 12 soldiers killed, 31 wounded in the Fort Hood shooting, and 3 suspects, 1 dead, 2 apprehended. This started this afternoon, I'll correct myself from earlier, at 1:30 p.m. Central Time, so it has been now going on, I guess, for about 2 hours and 45 minutes.